Hold on for a second. What's up, YouTube family? I would like you guys to make sure you like and subscribe to our video. It would help us get into the algorithms so we can be seen and bring more engaging content to you guys. So like I said, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you. With it being week 9, some would say that's kind of close to the midway point, and we kind of seen some of the same suspects quarterback-wise in terms of the struggle bus. And, I thought of these 3 names with Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson. Now, I threw in the chat a little bit later with Geno Smith because, as you guys probably saw, Anthony Richardson got benched right when I kind of sent off the podcast note. So, I wanted to ask the guys, out of those 3 to 4 guys, who do you think will not be on the team starting next year? So, Zhu, go ahead and give us your synopsis on this.
I'm going to start with the poopy train, man. I got to tell you, I went 4-1 in fantasy football this week. My one loss, the team that started Geno Smith. My God, that dude looked like trash. I know the weather was a little bad, but Geno Smith, he's the guy that, okay, he's a nice complimentary player. He ain't an elite quarterback, but he ain't awful. He has some nice passing yard games. Like, he puts up 300 yards, but 0 touchdowns, 1 touchdown and a pick. Like, he's just not a difference maker on the field. He's the guy that gets you by before you find the young quarterback and takes over your franchise, and then you can become a legitimate direction of, we're going to compete for a potential future Super Bowl. Because if you look at the team, I like the weapons. I like DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
I like JSN as the slot guy. Tyler Lockett as a veteran is still very, very good. That's your third guy. Sean, your guy, my goodness.
Kenneth Walker. Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, K9, woof. This guy, as you actually accurately predicted, RB1, baby. K9 is RB1 because he added the pass catching to his game now. He doesn't really leave the field. Like, Charbonnet as a backup is a nice handcuff, too. So they got 2, really good running backs on that roster. So if you they got rid of that offensive coordinator, Mr. Waldron. So that's an upgrade too.
Right,
so you're talking about the Seattle team right now.
When he's down, Zoo. Come on.
I'm kicking him right now, man. But this Seattle Seahawks team, they got rid of the head coach. They went in their new direction. So, but they're missing that young new quarterback just to have the new era of Seattle Seahawks football. And for me, Geno Smith, he's a cute story. He died with the Jets, revitalized career. He wrote back. I have a nice quarterback, but the Geno Smith story, I think it's over. He's a cute story, cute little Cinderella story, but I want to win. If I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, this is a team that was the Legion of Boom. They got it done. They won a championship, made it to multiple Super Bowl appearances. Geno Smith ain't the guy that's going to bring you back this. So for me, this is easy. Geno Smith,
yeah.
Geno Smith, get him out of there. He's a nice standby. Wait
Play
for the
Sam
draft.
Howell, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know about that. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe go in the draft, trying to find these young quarterbacks to find your successor. If he's not in this draft, maybe punt in another year. Geno as a placeholder. That's what he's a plug, man. He's a plug in the machine right now until you get that franchise quarterback that we see right now. The Chicago Bears, I think they got one. The Washington Commanders, they definitely got one. The New England Patriots, Drake May, in the first couple games, he looked pretty good. They got our direction. This might be an all-time
Bo Nix is.
Oh yeah, Bo Nix came in, and obviously he's a very experienced collegiate player. He's gone to the Sean Payton system. And he's been good. He's been average. For a quarterback,
he's been above average.
Yeah, okay. I don't know about that, but Sean Payton's a good head coach. So the rookie quarterback, this class is looking like it's something. It's definitely something. So I feel like the Seattle Seahawks, for them to go in that right direction and potentially winning a Super Bowl, Geno Smith, get him off the roster in a couple of years.
I mean, I agree with you, Zoo. I think the easy pick is Geno. And here's the reason. I mean, T-Law and Dak both have long contracts.
Overpaid.
Right? So now, if you were to ask me and take out the contract situation for all these guys, and let's just say they're all
I know where you're going.
If they say they're all on even terms, all right, I'm gonna push Anthony Richardson away. I know he got benched, and Flacco. Let's be honest, man. 7 touchdowns to 1 interception in 2 games starting. 2 games started. He came in for a portion of the other 2 games.
Crazy impressive.
I mean, they're in a contention for that division. Honestly, the Texans are not as dominant as we thought they were going to be.
Especially losing all their weapons now. No Stephon Diggs now. Nico Collins on IR. Like, CJ lost.
John Mechie.
Well, Tank Dell, God, let's go, man. I needed that.
I'm about to say smash that. Yeah.
So, but I think if they have Flacco at the helm, right, to your point, Zhu, he is the ultimate plug right now. He's probably the best plug in the NFL for any team, let alone a Colts team that really needs him and is sitting at 500, and they finally have JT back. So I'm going to set Anthony Richardson aside. They're pretty much just saying, hey, man, get your mental together because you cannot be calling to come off the field in the middle of a drive.
Don't say it in the press conference, man.
He was tired. That was the reason.
So was everyone else on the field, man. Come on.
And this guy's like known for being a physical specimen. Like Anthony Richardson's like, this guy's a physical freak. He got tired, playing quarterback.
Yeah. So, maybe it's his condition. But once again, you got to also assume he's really only, 8 games into his career? Yeah. I mean, this is really still his rookie year.
He's his 10th start.
Yeah. There you go, 10th start, right? And a couple of those games he didn't even finish, right, because of the injuries that he's had respectively. So I'm taking him out of that. Geno Smith, understandably, you already made your case, Sue. Now, between T-Law and Dak, T-Law, I know that the Jaguars are absolutely trash, and I'm not going to go for T-Law. And here's the reason. It's not only his fault. Their defense is absolutely atrocious.
Awful.
Their wide receiver room is depleted. Gabe Davis is out.
Brian Thomas is a stud, though.
For the season.
Brian Thomas
is a beast, of course. Yeah. And Evan Ingram.
LSU receivers, I'm telling you.
LSU
never
receivers.
I still remember asking this question. Why was he ranked like a tier lower than the? Because I remember asking this question.
He's better than Rome.
I was like, Rome McDoon's, Marvin Harrison, Malik Davis, they're in that tier 1. I'm like, why is this LSU guy who's like 6'4" and really fast?
He was behind neighbors.
Behind neighbors.
I remember Justin
I think
Jefferson,
you can easily go. In my opinion, right now it's 1A, 1B, Malik and MHJ, Brian Thomas, and then
I think I might rather have Brian Thomas than MHJ. I think I might rather have.
I'm paid for watching the games.
Yeah.
That's also partly Kyler's fault. He just doesn't know how to field the ball consistently.
He missed them a lot open.
Yeah. Besides the point, I mean, T-Law, he's got 12 touchdowns. He's got 12 total touchdowns, 7 total turnovers, 62% completion. I mean, once again, and then you could throw in ATN is not the same player, and he's been injured. Tank Bigsby, sure, but he is not utilized at all in the passing game. This team is just very jumbled. They're depleted. I know I've given T-Law a lot of flack in years past, and I do think he deserves some of it, but it's not entirely his fault this year. But let me tell you, man, there's a guy over in Dallas. This is almost entirely his fault.
Yeah.
They have had injuries on the defensive line, and I do understand that that's huge. But you have 10 touchdowns total and 12 total turnovers. You have 6. What is it? How many fumbles has he lost this year? I have it written down here because it was so egregious. 4 fumbles lost, 8 interceptions.
Oh, geez.
I mean, he's got some tough losses. I mean, the Saints, Ravens, Lions, and Niners. Outside of the Saints, I know they had the God start in those first 2 weeks. Other 3 teams are legitimately viable. I think even with the 49ers injuries, their defense will always keep them in games. But their only wins are against the Browns, the Giants, and the Steelers.
That's the point.
And they barely beat the Steelers. I don't think they really manhandled the Giants from what I remember either.
That was close.
That was a Thursday night game. I remember.
Yeah, it was a very close game.
With Deshaun Watson. You put Jameis in there, and they might lose that game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, just looking at him entirely, I know he's lost Brandon Cooks this year, but Jalen Tolbert is a decent wide receiver. Turpin's a fast guy. Their rushing attack is also – I think a lot of these quarterbacks – their teams are just not there. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are the worst rushing attempt team in the league, the worst rushing yard team in the league, and they only have 3 rushing touchdowns this year, which is tied with the Browns for last place. I mean, this is not entirely on Dak, but you cannot be committing 12 turnovers and only accounting for 10 touchdowns. I mean, he's locked in for 3 years.
Yeah.
He is locked into this team for 3 years. And he got paid before the season. He got paid, and so did T-Law, but Dak, I'd say they were kind of on the same, we got to pay him, but we really don't want to.
I don't know if you got to pay him because, this is one thing I say about Dak Prescott. When it's easy, like when it's garbage time, Dak looks great.
And that's most of his touchdowns.
Baltimore Ravens, fling it, coming back. And then at the end they lose.
Yes.
49ers getting their butt beat in the first 3 quarters. Oh, fourth quarter game is over. Boom! CD like, oh, we're cooked, and then them get it done. I feel like when there's like no pressure, Dak's like it kind of reminds me of his rookie year too. If you guys remember this against the Green Bay Packers, whooping for the first 3 quarters. Oh, and then he coming back again in the fourth quarter when there's no pressure. He plays free, and then obviously the defense probably a little easier too because they're up a lot. Dak looks great, but when it's a game, when it's a real competitive game, Dak Prescott just doesn't show up for some reason.
Yep. And you know what this did, Zoo? By signing him, they're probably not going to be able to pay Micah Parsons. And if you're telling me I could, go out and hell for one, you're talking about 1 year now. The other issue is that this is, and Sean, you can probably attest to this better. The 26 draft versus the 25 draft for quarterbacks. This upcoming draft is very heavy running back, from what I understand. I'm not a huge college football fan, but it's not like there's a locked in, QB1 for sure going number 1 overall.
Right now, it's Shador. It's Shador.
Oh, it is.
Shador.
And he's not a massive athlete. Like Carson Beck, who everybody said was going to be great, looks like trash. Quinn Ewers has been hurt, hadn't looked great. Cam Ward is a wild card. He's had kind of that meteoric rise. He started at like some Division IV school, I think, and then he's at Miami killing it.
Right.
But like to your point, it's
there's no clear, and then you take into account that the Cowboys, they're not going to just tank a season to get the first overall pick. That's not how Jerry Jones operates.
No.
So even the Jaguars, I mean, they could draft, but they're not going to draft someone. Well, they just paid T-Law. Geno Smith, sure. The Seahawks could be the team to potentially do that, but they are vying for a division that is pretty even at this point, maybe until Christian McCaffrey comes back, if and when he does. But all of these teams are in no man's land, and I just think the worst, if you're going to ask me who's going to not be on the team, I think it would be Geno Smith. But I would also take this as to who has the worst situation, and that's the Dallas Cowboys, because they really mortgage their entire future for a guy that is just not going to be doing too much in the next 3 years. I'm sorry. Maybe he'll get you 10 wins some regular seasons, 11
That's
wins.
what he does, yeah.
But not the way the Commanders are looking. Maybe the Eagles are getting back on track too. Maybe the Giants are going to turn over with Daniel Jones, and then they could figure it. I love their defense. Yeah. Tyrone Tracy looks legit.
He got some juice. So he got that acceleration speed. Where
in 2 years, man, the Dallas Cowboys could be last in this division.
Especially if the Giants really do get off of Daniel Jones, for sure.
They do get off Daniel Jones, exactly. And, you should have thrown him in that discussion, but that would have just wiped the floor clean slate right there.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
So, I do agree with Zoo. I would say Geno Smith might not be on the Seahawks next year. But if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, I would be happier to be a Seahawks fan right now than a Cowboys fan. I'll just tell you. That's how.
Because the team, even with Geno being mid or whatever, the team, you can see the talent. They got all kind of talent defensively and offensively. Yeah. So they just need a trigger man. And you could say, if you look at the Giants, like, Malik Neighbors is obviously the receiver one. Like Wan'Dale Robinson's a good receiver. Like they got backs, Tyrone Tracy, like, and their defense, Dexter Lawrence, defensive line. They just need a competent quarterback. You see with Washington, like they got dudes, but it's like
give them Brock Purdy.
Bengals comes in. Great. Facts. They build to probably at least get to the playoffs, and then who knows? But yeah, my pick was Dallas because on one hand, would I put money? To your point, like Geno's going to be the guy I put money on to not be on the team next year. But like, if you're a Dallas fan, it's like, at what point is the change going to come in terms of like, are we just going to settle for the headlines of we paid Dak, we brought back Zeke, which no one understood why you did that. You have CD, you made him wait to the last minute, you pay him. Like I said, they're probably not going to be able to pay Micah. So it's like, if you're able to maybe flip him for a pick or two or whatever, then that's possible. But everybody who follows the NFL and follows the Cowboys knows it starts with Jerry. And what's going to happen is Jerry's going to do his press conference. He's going to get pissed. Mike McCarthy's probably going to be the scapegoat.
Yeah.
And it's like, at what point do we just stop with the Dak experiment? It's like, we just want a clean slate. Because to your point, they're not going to tank to get the number one pick. But if with Micah, maybe you can get into a top whatever range, a top 5-ish, top 7, 8-ish type pick. Maybe you do go for a different quarterback and maybe there's a team out there who wants Dak, and maybe you can flip him for some capital. I know that's unheard of. You usually, when you pay guys like that, you don't flip them for picks
Vegas
or players. Like, but there could be a desperate team like Vegas. There could be the Giants. Like, that goes now. That's treason. You're not going to trade them within the division, but it's just like, maybe there's a scenario where Jerry's just like, I kind of want to be serious about winning. Which this is just me predicting. I don't think he's ever going to do this because Dallas Cowboys print money, so they don't care. But like, if he's really serious about winning, he sees, he wakes up every morning and looks in the mirror and is like, I don't got too many days left. Like, he's just do whatever, trade Dak, trade whoever. Like, maybe he's like, okay, let's just start doing, extreme type of scenarios and situations and doing, judgment calls and actually letting maybe his family run the team how they want to run it because they're probably having to listen to Jerry and, go by his call. But Dallas to me seems like the make or break is like the high and low is more possible. Like it's a better probability that something crazy could happen. Like Dak could get traded or Mike could get traded. Because with Jacksonville, a lot of it feels like their head coach is going to get fired, and I think Trevor's still going to be there, and he's going to get a chance. Like maybe Ben Johnson does go down to Jacksonville, and then Trevor Lawrence is, getting revived by him. Like that's a possibility because Trevor has shown he has ability. Now, some could argue Dak has shown more than Trevor, but that's another story for another day. Geno obviously is the one that's going to get probably taken off, and done whatever. Yeah. But I did see this stat kind of like about 30 minutes before the pod in this regards to Anthony Richardson. And you guys might have saw this, but it was like basically their first 10 career starts, these two guys. And this is not about Anthony Richardson because I do agree, like what Zhu mentioned, like you can't, even if you was tired, don't say that in a press conference. Sometimes it pays not to be too, like you don't need to be too honest. Yeah. Like you can make up a lie. Like who's going to like, now I know on the sidelines, they got all these meme accounts now that are recording people's, and reading their lips and stuff. So like, yeah, I get it, but just lie about that. Like don't say it's because you was tired. Like just say like you had a groin injury.
You jammed a finger. I don't know.
Something that sounds like, that's what a football player goes through. So outside of that, like, so I'm looking at Anthony Richardson. They're saying they're comparing this to another quarterback. So his first 10 career starts.
Oh God.
Passing touchdowns was 7. This other guy had 7 passing touchdowns. He had 5 rushing touchdowns. This other guy had 6. Anthony had 11 turnovers. The other quarterback had 13. Passer rating 68.8 for Anthony, 64.2 for this other quarterback. Completion percentage, Anthony Richardson was 50%, 50.2%. This other guy was 52.3%. And then win-loss record was Anthony was 500 and this other guy was 4-6. Do you guys have a guess of who that is?
Can you give me at least like
Josh Allen?
Yeah, it's Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Yeah.
Like people forget it was really bad the
Josh
first
Allen was
couple
bad.
of years. Like he was just an athlete running around, and I think part of the reason why he didn't get like, and it's actually not even. I'll take that back now because now I'm thinking about the coaches. Like I want to say, was Dayball his coach at that time? I'm not sure.
No.
Was he his OC? Who was
coach?
He might have been. He might not have been his head coach.
No, he was a quarterback's coach.
He was his quarterback coach then.
Yeah. His first year.
So he was.
I'm pretty sure that or his second year.
I think. I want to say I don't think he was the head coach, but I think he was like the whatever. OC. We can look that up. But you look at Dayball. Most people, Daniel Jones aside, like most people respect Dayball. Like they think he's a guy that knows ball. Same with Shane Steichen. Like he's a guy that got many people saying he's the reason why Jalen Hurts got to the Super Bowl that year, and you can't really argue that because that offense was rolling when he was there. This is not really an Anthony Richardson, Josh Allen comparison. I thought that stat was interesting because I didn't know. It kind of brings back to like Josh Allen really struggled before like Stephon came there, and then like Dayball kind of got him there and whatever, and then he grew.
He was the O coordinator his rookie year.
Okay, so he was the OC.
Yep.
So my thing is with the quarterbacks, and I get in this league you got to win football games, but we got to stop just giving up on guys so early. Because maybe what you're doing as a coordinator isn't working. Because, hey, newsflash, you're about to have the first 2 to 3 weeks after Anthony Richardson, and Joe Flacco's probably going to get you wins. But you know what Joe Flacco's going to do for you also? He's going to turn back into a pumpkin. And then you're going to be stuck and you're probably not going to make the playoffs. And now, because this guy you're giving up on because he had a bad game against the Texans, which was awful because he went like 9 for 45, it felt like. But what I'm seeing is Darnold. What I'm seeing with I don't know, name another quarterback that was Geno, for instance. We were just talking about him. You know, I mean, I don't know who other quarterbacks that are having resurgence, but
Ryan Tannehill was probably one.
Tannehill was maybe one back in the day. But my whole point is, as coaches, they don't ever want to take the blame for maybe not doing their job the best. They just always want to throw the player under the bus. And I'm not trying to be pro player because sometimes you just need to get the job done. But I think we get enamored with guys like CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels coming in early in the league and they're just killing it. That is abnormal. That is not normal. And you know what else is helping Jaden Daniels that people I don't hear enough about is Cliff Kingsbury. He is known as a competent to elite offensive coordinator. Now, as a head coach, he's a different animal. Like that was a different situation and he was in Arizona. But like he's a elite coordinator. So to me, when you got guys who are elite coordinators, what they do is they don't get a Jaden Daniels and be like, okay, I need you to run this 1955 offense. Like he's probably, and I don't know because I'm not sitting on the meetings, but he's probably adjusting to Jaden Daniels' skill sets. Shane Steichen is as respected as he was with Jalen Hurts. I get it. And maybe Anthony just doesn't have it. But right now. But to me, game experience is what you need. So like, yeah, it's cool. Okay, he's benched. And it's like, okay, he's not going to play no more. But it's like, what if somehow, and I'm just saying as a hypothetical, I'm not saying I got any insider information, but what if they're like, okay, we're done. Joe Flacco gets us to the playoffs. I'm sticking with him. Flacco's got another leg. Like, no, okay, have a blast with that. But if you trade him and he goes somewhere else, something could happen and then he could maybe kick into another gear. And then now he's winning for that franchise. Like, I just don't understand why it's just like, okay, we just got to get rid of guys and just, it's just, nobody wants to coach. Yeah, nobody wants to coach. Nobody wants to earn their check. Everybody wants everything instant. And it's like, man, you got to earn your freaking paycheck as a coach. You only get 32 jobs. Like there's only 32 guys out there that know how to coach. Like I think these coaches, like as much as I think we were just talking about this, like, you know, the guy from Tyreek Stevenson, like I was saying, like maybe you just need to deactivate his account. And it's like, well, and, you know, and I think Zhu brought up the point is like, well, you get paid to do all this stuff. And it's like, you gotta make sure that, you know, this is what you get paid for. You're reading all this stuff online. Like it is what it is. Well, I think the coaches are probably reading online stuff too. And it's like, they're just getting caught up in the social media hype of like, oh, this guy's just as bad. Do I think all coaches do that? No, but I just think it's disappointing that, of course, he's been injured and he's had these games where he's not throwing the ball as much. Like, I'm just not a fan of it because I get sick of hearing like these like Flaccos, and I love Jameis. But we've seen, and listen, Jameis was one of the guys I missed on because I thought he was going to be great. And I like how he's turned into a more of a mature man, and like he's a guy who's like a community guy. I love that about him. But it's like, come on, man, what are we doing? Like everybody's so enamored with the backup, and then all of a sudden he gets in there. It's like, do you think this guy who's been in the league for 10, 15, 12 years is going to take you to the promised land? Like the Nick Foles story, that happens every blue moon. That does not happen all the time. Yeah. So it's like, to me, just give the guy and Anthony Richardson, and I'm going on a rant, but I'll end it here. Like, and this is another thing we look for college quarterbacks in general. Like, there's a guy, Grant Nussmeier, who's like, he's a son of an offensive coordinator, and he's the biggest hype at LSU, like the parent of Joe Burrow. But people forget, like Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, like their first year at LSU was not glamorous. No. But what happened was they were still good enough to get to a bowl, and they got reps. And the things I'm learning about quarterbacks coming in, I want a quarterback that's been a 2 to 3 year starter. I don't want a guy that's been in like Anthony Richardson. Love him to death, but he was only there for Florida for a year. Yep. He had a year of starts, and that's it. And then he got drafted off potential. You at that position, you got to play. You have to play. And to Sean, me, I don't care how good you are in college. You got to have multiple years to start.
And that's why I'll take Caleb over Jaden in the long run.
Well, Jaden had 3 years. I mean, he started about the same amount of starts. I mean, he played he was playing Ayuk his first year. Like, he had a lot of starts. Yeah. And Caleb, I think people forget, like, Caleb was a, like, 5 star, but Jaden, the year he came out, was, like, the number one duel. Yeah. Like, Jaden he got caught up in the Herm mess. Like, Herm was a and I love Herm. It was funny as hell, and he's great on ESPN, but, like, him and Antonio Pierce, I don't know what the hell they were doing there. It was Arizona State is a party school, and I'm pretty sure Herm and Antonio was in their party too. Like, it just wasn't. It was an NFL style. It was a lot of stuff going on. They got players, but like, and actually, if you go down their list of guys they had, like with Jaden, Ayuk, they had a lot of dudes that are NFL playing now. They just didn't. They were coaching them like it was NFL, and it wasn't really NFL style. It was supposed to be college because they're still kids or college kids at the end of the day. But the quarterback, my whole point is like, just stop giving up on guys early. Like Bryce, I'm starting to think it's a Carolina problem because look at Darnold and look at Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Like, maybe Carolina's got issues.
Bad
like,
organization.
Watch if Bryce somehow went to the Rams and got with McVay, how good he'd probably be. He'd probably be really freaking good. Who knows? But I just think with all of this to tie it in a bow, like Geno's probably not going to be on the team next year. But I wouldn't be shocked, and I would like to see, and I'm rooting for like Dallas and Dak to maybe go their separate ways and like go somewhere. Because I'm just, if you're Dallas, like when does it end? Like it's just every effing year you're either like,
opera, man.
Yeah,
Jerry
it's like
Jerry is addicted to the soap opera that he is.
He don't care about. He don't know ball and he don't care to win. That's just what it is, and that sucks if you're a fan of them because to know your owner just does not care to win, you're just. I don't know. I don't argue with Dallas fans because I don't really have a lot of Dallas Cowboy friends, but it's just like,
and they would probably agree with you at this point.
Yeah, like if they took Shador and traded Micah and just got like a nice two option besides CD and then got a competent running back, like that could change their whole trajectory because you're gonna have to do
hard-headed though.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something because Washington looks like the real deal. I don't know about the Eagles. We'll see. They look good last couple weeks. And the Giants are seriously a quarterback away from being really good. Their defense is dirty, and they seem like I believe in Dable. I think he's a good coach. Daniel Jones better be glad he's got a freaking relationship with the Mannings.
Yes.
That is a prime example of it's better to know people than to actually have like the requisite skill to like play quarterback. Mm-hmm. Because he knew the Mannings, he got that contract.
Of course.
They're cool with the Mars.
He gave it to him after his rookie year, man. Just because he beat Kirk Cousins.
Nasty.
Talking about another bad contract.
So
at least they didn't pay him that much, though, like in retrospect.
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
Go ahead and get started with that. I guess we're probably not gonna remember what we did the last 2 weeks ago. I don't know.
I know what I did this past week, man. It was great. I just was out in Montana and I had to throw them all together before Sean released the last podcast. It was a Bo Nix, Jameis Winston, and Jalen Hurts week for me, and man, that paid off 4x my money. But the big payday, Zoo, you want to know what it was, man? Cade Otton, he's huge week, man.
Got him off waivers.
A lot of people were on him. A lot of people were on Joe Mixon as well. Another big play per usual, man. The guy's just been a walking 25 PPR piece pretty much every week that he's been fully healthy. Yeah, man. It's all about finding the value at this point because you're going to pay $8K for Lamar in DraftKings, man. I mean, he doesn't spread the ball around and he isn't getting the rushing touchdowns like we've seen because of our favorite King Henry, man. He's just been an absolute animal this year. So kind of going into that real quick, I mean, this week, heavy on the expensive running backs. There's really no value at running backs. Chase Brown might be the cheapest one that you could get by with at $5,900, man. It's just ugly. So you're going to really have to pay up at running back, which means you got to find the value at wide receiver. And last week, Zoo, you know what the stack was with Jameis? Cedric Tillman, man, and it paid off. Man was $3K, and he went 10x on his cost to point ratio, man. Absolutely ridiculous, and he didn't even have 100 yards receiving. But yeah, so the games I'm targeting this week, Bills and Dolphins. I know the Dolphins got absolutely obliterated, and that was the game too. Don't panic, man. Tua has to face the Bills again. Let's hope he knows when to slide.
Oh, Jesus.
Because last time,
give me the Bills on that.
He had 3 picks and he doesn't even remember them. They had to show him the film 3 times just so he could remember that game. But Cowboys-Falcons, man, absolute potential shootout right here. Falcons secondary, Sean, I know we talked about that early on in the season, could be pretty legit. This year, I think they haven't held up as strong as a lot of people thought with Terrell and Jesse Bates out back there. And the last one is Rams and Seahawks. You were just talking about Geno Smith, Zoo. He has those games, and it's usually against the division where he ends up just popping off. Not saying I'm starting Geno Smith this week, but I think there are some players on both sides of those games to target. So, yeah, I'm focusing in on Kirk Cousins and Bo Nix once again. He's going to have to throw against the Ravens, man. They have the worst pass defense, one of the worst pass defenses in the league, and he's just going to be playing down all game. If you're going to play Bo Nix, though, you got to run him naked. You just can't trust if he's going to throw to Sutton, Troy Franklin. Who's that Vele guy that they got too? I think he's another rookie that he's gotten some action a couple games. And then Adam Troutman was having monster game last week. Come on, man! Like you can't even predict that kind of stuff. So if you had Troutman in your lineup, congratulations. He was the payoff on tight end besides Kate Otten last week. So yeah, I'm actually going to go with a Bo Nix lineup. He's cheap. Wow. You're going to save a lot of value, so you can pay up for my running backs this week are Kyron against the Seahawks. I mean, James Cook just absolutely feasted on them. And now that the Rams are fully back healthy.
Fully back. Got both guys.
You got to go with the running back. Exactly. Second one, Zoo's favorite guy in the league, Devon A-Chain.
A-Chain train. The A-Chain train is back.
Against Buffalo, he is priced very cheaply this week, actually cheaper than Tony Pollard against the Patriots, who is another option if you want to consider him. But I think Zoo, it's because Mostert's involvement. You know, he does steal some red zone.
Yeah, he does get the goal line carries.
Yep. A bit of a Demont and Jahmyr Gibbs there.
Yep.
Maybe a target version. And then I'm going with my number one wideout, Tyreek Hill. I'm following the Dolphins.
I hope so, man. I haven't seen him eat since week 1. It's been a long time. And you know what, Zoo?
He is the guy that completely flips slates. I mean, he could one big play, and if you don't have him, you're not making any money that week. So I think at 7,300. So here's your thing, Zoo. CD 8,800 this week. Tyreek 7,300. 7,300 with
Are those guys the top 2 most expensive receivers?
Oh no, Tyreek fell, man. Tyreek has fallen, and this is the game. This is the last value game for Tyreek, and then he'll shoot back up near 8K.
Tyreek has fallen, huh? Interesting.
Yep. And then I'm going with Calvin Ridley. That's if Mason Rudolph plays. Also a cheap wide receiver.
Makes me nervous.
Just target central. Hey, you got to go with the boom bust, Sean. In this, man.
He gets targets.
You want to make 1,000 plus on a $3 entry? You got to go with the boom bust, man. That's how you got to do it. But last ones, I mean, I like Hunter Henry as a cheap tight end this week. He's good with both quarterbacks.
He's good.
So whether Drake May is out with concussion protocol or if it's Jacoby Brissett, he's their really most reliable outside of Pop Douglas. And my last wide receiver, I'm actually going super cheap on Parker Washington of the Jaguars, man. He's the Jaguars. He's the only one that's healthy. He's the only fully healthy.
Parker, who?
I think I saw him on waivers.
Man. I don't know who that is.
He's a number 1 waiver wire pickup this week. And if Brian Thomas is out, he is wide receiver 1 along with Evan Ingram in a game that they're going to have to throw the ball against the Philadelphia Eagles. It's an upside play. You got to pick a cheap one. And then the last pick at the flex position, a man that has quietly put up 4 straight 20 pieces, with 3 of those being 25 pieces. DeAndre Swift, man, he's been balling the last 4 weeks.
Back.
They're finally getting him involved after a first couple weeks of just pure silence in that Bears backfield. You know, the Arizona game, that's a bit of a trap game. I think it could be lower scoring than people think it is. If you're targeting a Caleb or Kyler stack, go for it. I mean, by all means, maybe Caleb over Kyler, just because I don't like Marvin Harrison Jr. this week against Jalen Johnson. But I do like DeAndre Swift, and I think after you guys watched the Bears Commanders game, once they got Swift going, that's actually when the offense opened up. When he broke that big run, it opened up the offense. I think Waldron, if he is not being a dumbass, excuse my language, he will start by feeding Swift. The only thing to be nervous about, sure, Roschon Johnson keeping the red zone, or I should say inside 5 carries. But I like Swift's usage in the receiving game. I think it makes up for any losses in the red zone.
Nice.
It better pay off, man. This is a Dolphins heavy week.
I hope you're right, man. With the A-Chain, Tyreek combo, I've been waiting for those guys to both go off in the same weekend against their division rival. Hopefully it happens, even though
they need the win.
They desperately need to come back. But yeah, I'm hoping you're right, man. I'm definitely hoping you're right. For me, my spread picks, man. All I gotta say, I made a rule. I remember saying this on the pod. Don't bet against the Commanders. And what do? I bet against the Commanders and I lose on a Hail Mary. So I'm telling you, no more Commanders picks.
Yeah.
No more
just bet on the Commanders, Zoo.
No, I bet on them and they lose. I'm just not touching the Commanders no more.
Touché.
I'm not touching the Commanders no more. I'm going to go against a team that just looks like straight garbage this entire year, but they're actually a home favorite, the New York Jets. I'm thinking the Texans to cover the spread. The Jets are 2-point favorites because obviously they're at home. But my God, give me the better team against the worst team, man. I don't care if home, away. It could be in China. It could be Europe and Germany. I don't care. Texas getting it done, man. Are you? The New York Jets lost to the Patriots. This team is just one of those organizationally top to bottom dysfunctional. Just absolutely dysfunctional. Blaming you got Aaron Rodgers, who I loved on the Packers. Man, all this guy is just blame people now. Blaming the media. Stop listening to the media. Robert Saleh gone. We got to blame the head coach. He gone. What happened to the defense? The defense is awful. Aaron Rodgers, blame Mike Williams. You got your boy Devontae. Dude, you got all the resources on offense to get it done, and the offense should be elite on paper. You got Aaron Rodgers, that bad man. You got Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Brees the Beast. You even got a running back a backup running back who's Braylon Allen, who's actually pretty good too. And your offense, it just looks dysfunctional. That's all I gotta say. Dysfunctional. Yep. And I don't know about that elite Jets defense. It's disappeared.
That's Sauce Gardner. All right. You need to have
I will say
about him.
To this point, too, you might want to be a little nervous because is Sauce? Right? He's healthy. You don't hear much about him because they just haven't been doing much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this.
He's only got Tank Dell. He's only got Tank Dell.
I know that. That's how they're baking in. Stephon Diggs out for the season with an ACL injury.
Yep.
Tank Dell, but I would say this offense right now is more of a run first team now. And Joe Mixon this year, he's broken out some ridiculous. He creates rushing. He can get the cheap 1-yard push in. This guy runs for touchdowns right now, and this guy is just an absolute workhorse right now, getting 20-plus carries for each game that he's in right now. And this guy's just been off a phenomenal pickup for a guy that the Bengals we don't want to pay him. Boom, cut him, get him out of here. Texans welcome to our elite offense, and boom, Joe Mixon has been the perfect addition for this team because this guy just gets it done, and they just get it done in the red zone with Joe Mixon right now. So it's going to be a run-heavy first against this Jets team. And then CJ Stroud makes some timely throws. I think his maturity. This guy I don't need him to go all out and carve out this team because I feel like it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game with the pace of the game. So it's going to be a run-heavy attack. So for me, I'm just picking the better team that's been the better team all year round. And just because they're on the way on the road, and I know they lost Stephon Diggs, but I feel like CJ Stroud will adjust. CJ Stroud will adjust. So I believe in this Texans team to get it done. Just take straight 2 point. Give me the money line. Give me the money line.
John Mechie, another guy that
he's in that.
If you're
Parker
watching
Washington.
this, if you're however long into the podcast and you play fantasy, John Mechie, if you go look at his highlight tape at Alabama, he was a really good receiver. He got overshadowed and he had that weird thing coming out where it's like something cancerous and it kind of slowed him down to begin. But he's a really good receiver, and maybe he picks up. It could be like maybe that second or third guy when Nico comes back. So, yeah, I'm with you. I just feel like CJ is a better quarterback. The Jets, but they're supporting the Mixon point. If you watch the first week of the season when I think it was the Jets and 49ers play, Jordan Mason had a field day. So, I'm kind of riding that. I'm on that bandwagon too. But I kind of wanted to try something different, just to switch up some stuff because. I do money line stuff where I'm picking like odds, and I have 3 games that I'm looking at that are like odds wise that I like. Starts with the Colts. I just got done bagging on Flacco, which I still stand on because it's like I think he's the perfect
he's a plug.
He's got us back. He's gonna win us 2 or 3 games, and we're back, and this is our guy for the next 5 years. No, and then he'll turn back into a pumpkin. But Joe Flacco is really good for the energy. He's energy guy. Like you said, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's gonna probably come in and shock some guys. So, I don't know if I said this on the pod or before the pod. Minnesota, man, I don't know. They might be striking big night. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not there yet. With them. I was impressed at the first couple of games, but it is kind of crazy what Sam Darnold's been doing, and him doing this the entire season is still up in the air. So I think Joe Flacco at 5.5. I think they got on that versus the Vikings. I think the Colts can keep within that. I think they can keep within that. I don't know if I'm courageous enough to pick them to win that game, but I think the Colts can keep it within that 5.5. Bears money line with the Cardinals. They gotta have it. They gotta have this game.
It's a must.
They gotta have it. And I think Arizona. How are they 4-4? I don't get it. So it's like it's kind of like a what? Like you look up, it's like wait, you think it's a misprint? Like how the hell are they 4-4? So I think the Bears, because they're going to be pissed off from last week, I think they're going to take it out on the Cardinals, and I think they can.
They should get
Kyler. I think they're going to be more desperate. I think the Cardinals feel like they're playing with house money, and I think the Bears is like we have to win this because we got to keep pace in our division. Like all that pressure, you're gonna feel that if you're a Bears fan. So I think, or a fan or player. So I think I got Bears money line on that, and then again with these backup quarterbacks, like Jameis literally almost threw the game away, but then threw the dime right after that. Just speaks to like his gunslinger mentality.
Yep.
I think I like them against the Chargers. Like the Chargers are to another team where, with Harbaugh, their identity changed. I almost thought Herbert was going to be out with that dirty play to D tackle. I thought he was going to be out for a while. Man. That was crazy. I got nervous. I was like, oh shoot. I was like, this might not end well for the Chargers. But he got up and was, pushing this guy off of his offensive lineman off of the other guy. So, them coming to Cleveland, riding the momentum. There's a possibility. I think Jameis. Yeah, I think Jameis could get them playing to a point where Cedric Tillman not only is still going off, Njoku, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore. Like, that's the one thing about Jameis I do respect. He got all the guys eating. Like, everybody eats with Jameis. So it's like, that tells you to me when all the guys are getting targets, that means he's processing well. The only thing you worry about is like just the, whatever, I guess you say boneheaded mistake that he'll make. But I mean, if he only makes one of those or two of those and he throws 3 tutties, like there's a chance I think they can win that game. So the reason why I say all 3 of these, I feel comfortable betting any of those singularly out if you want to do that. But like if you wanted to do a parlay, like a 3-leg parlay on that,
you get
if you wanted to do this, and let me go ahead and full disclosure. This is not going to be something I co-sign. This is not going to be something that I advise you to do. But if you want to do this and you feel like you're a parlay king, which I'm not because I struggle with parlays. I'll hit one every out of 15 I'll hit. But I'm saying if you feel like you're confident in your parlays, the odds on that is plus 632 on FanDuel. And if you got a little bit of cash, you can make a really big payday on that. So if you wanted to link all those together, that could be something that you can put in your little stack of bets that, your little parlay bets and then going somewhere else and doing some other type of bets, over-unders, whatever. But like I said, individually, I like all of those. Out of those 3 bets that I'm probably the most confident in is probably the Bears and Cardinals. I just think the Bears are going to come out and, like I said, I just think last week was one they feel like they should have got, so they're going to come out and probably try to beat the Cardinals. I still don't believe the Cardinals are any good. So they're very dependent on Marvin Harrison having a good game. And like you said, if Jalen Johnson comes to play, then who is he going to throw to? Like, listen, McBride had 100 yards in that game. He did go crazy, but it's like, I don't know. I think the Bears defense is going to be up for the task for that. So that's the one I feel the most confident in. But like I said, if you want to link those 3 together, plus 632 on FanDuel, I saw, and it's not an ad. We don't have any ads with FanDuel, but when I was doing my calculations on that, I kind of like that. So, like I said, again, what is it? I guess you would say bet responsibly. Do not put a lot of money. Do not get addicted to parlays because that is the number one thing that'll get you addicted to betting. So, just saying, I'm going to start trying this out. 3-leg parlay if you guys are interested in that. So, that is the end of our podcast. Like I said, we talked about the NBA today because it's the first week. Depending on if Paolo were to go for 70, maybe we'll squeeze that in as a topic, or, if a major injury or something happens, we'll talk about it NBA wise, but we're still focused on football. And for you guys to follow us, you can follow us on Quantro Knows on YouTube, Tyson Talks on Instagram, Tyson Talks on TikTok, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. You can watch, listen, make sure you give us a 5-star review. And also when it comes to any of the content that I'm going to be doing, I'm still going to be doing heavy NFL, heavy content pieces with that. NBA will be sprinkled in there. But like I said, once it gets towards the middle, I guess you would say 1/4 of the way through the NBA season, I'll start linking and doing half NBA, half NFL. So make sure you guys are following all the content pages so you can see what I'm updating. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.